The stars whisper now, and they whisper in human. Centuries passed. The wars became lessons. The battles turned to memories etched in stone and metal across planets, moons, and drifting stations. But some things, some stories, never became old. They grew louder with time. At the center of the restored Galactic Alliance, orbiting the once contested star Sorinth 5, stood a monument. It wasn't made of gold or alloy, but fused wreckage, pieces of the Drakeen, the Kit Hari flagship, and Kale's own assault pod, welded into a ring, hovering eternally above the planet, glowing with solar resonance. And carved in dozens of languages, it bore a single human phrase. Don't stop. No attribution. No title. Just a phrase. For many alien species, that became the first human sentence they ever learned. It was etched on training manuals, whispered in meditation halls, even embedded in the AI protocols of newborn starships. Because it didn't mean continue marching blindly. It meant survive, resist, dream, grow. On Earth, Kale's house by the ocean became something of a myth. She never returned to war, but neither did she fade away. Scholars came to ask questions, young officers to beg advice, artists to listen in silence as she stared at the tide and said things that felt like riddles, but changed lives. The Kit Hari seed she planted grew, not fast but strong. It didn't build hives. It didn't dominate. It listened. It sang. Rin named it Ilarian, meaning first new echo in Old Drakeen. In time, the galaxy called it the second Kit Hari. Not conquerors, but healers. Humanity's legacy took strange shapes. On the desert world of Xantir, a group of avian monks built wind sculptures that played old Earth jazz. On Orvon Station, children of 8 different species performed a Terran play every solstice, The Girl and the Star Wolf, a retelling of Kale's early missions. And deep in the metal hive world of Kortau, where machines still whispered to their long-dead queen, someone had painted graffiti on the central reactor. She faced a god and didn't flinch. She was human. So are we. No one erased it. In fact, no one dared. Rin became Ambassador Prime. Under her, the Galactic Alliance became more than a name. It became a movement. It wasn't ruled by humans, but inspired by them. Not by power, but by imperfection embraced. Alien species that had hidden art, language, and feelings now unearthed them. They allowed themselves messiness, love, laughter, despair, hope, and fear, yes. But fear that didn't win. That was the truth Rin repeated at every speech. Humans weren't fearless. They were terrified, but they fought anyway. And that's what made them divine. One day, Earth lost contact with Kale. Not because she died, because she left. Her house was empty. The Kit Hari tree, grown taller than the home itself, stood in silent bloom. Its petals glowed with human DNA, strands encoded in every vein. A part of her, now living in something new. On the porch, a single note remained, scribbled in Kale's handwriting. I'm off to find the edges of this thing we call meaning. If you get lost, follow the music. No one tried to chase her, because the stars were wide, and Kale had always belonged to them. Then, years later, something answered. On the farthest edge of mapped space, beyond what even Warplight could reach easily, a signal was picked up. Not an SOS, not a weapon, a song, old Earth piano, and one faint voice whispering in the silence between notes. You're not ready yet, but when you are, come find us. The galaxy paused and remembered Kale's last words. So they sent a crew, not warriors, not politicians, but artists, teachers, soldiers, poets, scientists, all trained in one Earth tradition. Chaos tempered by compassion, order guided by wonder. They called themselves the New Embers. Their mission wasn't conquest. It was to pass the fire. Somewhere, on a moon with no name, a young alien child, half Oruan, half Drakeen, traced ancient words in the dust and asked his mother, "Who were the humans, really?" She smiled and said, "No one knows for sure, but we still speak their stories. We still feel them in every beat of a song, every act of defiance, every time someone risks everything for someone else." He blinked. Why? And she knelt, placed her hand over his heart, and replied, "Because they taught us the most dangerous idea of all, that you don't have to be perfect to matter. You just have to care." That's why the stars still echo with one phrase. Don't stop. Final line, legacy in the stars ending. Centuries passed, empires rose and fell, but one phrase remained whispered among the stars. Words spoken in defiance, in hope, in unbreakable will. Human, don't stop. They called her the Catalyst. Not because she caused chaos, though chaos certainly followed, but because wherever she went, change erupted like wildfire in dry brush. Her real name? Lieutenant Kale Rennick. Human. 29 years old. Combat strategist, terraformation specialist, and possibly the most wanted ally, or threat, across 3 galactic sectors. The Glavari didn't even believe humans existed until she boarded their capital ship with her boots still stained in Martian red dust. The Dravox called her Meat Wraith, believing she must be an artificial weapon, her species extinct. And the Corn, they just laughed, until she took command of their crippled dreadnought and flew it home, through an asteroid field no AI dared touch. That was 6 months ago. Now, Kale sat cross-legged inside a humming chamber aboard the Andari Solace, a ship that wasn't even supposed to exist. A covert diplomatic vessel belonging to the unified allied civilizations, a fragile alliance of over 40 alien species. Its mission was to maintain peace. Or, more accurately, the illusion of it. Peace was expensive, and maintaining it meant putting the right kind of terrifying on board. Kale. Her quarters were sparse, deliberately. A blank room helped her think. A matte black pressure suit lay folded on her bed, its sharp contours unmistakable against the sterile backdrop. Next to it was an old Earth artifact, a rusted gear from a 21st century machine, engraved with the word stand. No one else on board knew what it meant. But to her, it was a legacy. A quiet knock on her chamber's reinforced door broke her focus. "Enter," she said, standing up smoothly. The door slid open to reveal Commander Telzai, the Andari captain. 8 feet tall, fluid silver skin that shimmered like molten steel, and 4 slender arms ending in delicate claws. Telzai was ancient by her people's standards, a war veteran, and a master negotiator. She hated relying on humans. But she also wasn't stupid. "The council demands your presence," Telzai said, her voice both melodic and grating. "A Drakeen vessel is approaching." Kale blinked. Drakeen? They weren't scheduled to be in this sector for another 3 cycles. They diverted course. No reason given. And they are not responding to our hails. That was unusual. The Drakeen were one of the few species known for extreme protocol and precision. Even a minor deviation from the flight plan would usually be sent in triplicate with apologies. "So what's the council's plan?" Kale asked, already tugging on her suit. "Officially? Wait. See. Do nothing aggressive. And unofficially?" Telzai hesitated. "Unofficially, they're waiting for you to say something terrifying, so they can pretend it was your idea." Kale smirked. Same as always. Moments later, she entered the bridge. The room bristled with tension. Holograms glowed above sleek consoles manned by a dozen different species, each with their own unique physiology, languages, and mannerisms. But right now, all eyes were on the same thing. The massive silhouette of the Drakeen war cruiser looming on the main display. The vessel was vast, twice the size of the Andari Solace, with bristling edges like jagged glass. Its shields were active, weapons not powered, yet, but the posture was clear. "We are watching. We are waiting." Kale walked past gasps and flinches, her mere presence still unsettling to many aliens. Some of them had never seen a human up close. Others had only heard the stories. The ones about what happened on Delvor Prime. The ones about the facility she walked out of, the only survivor, dragging 3 enemy commanders as hostages while covered in blood that wasn't hers. "Bring up full telemetry," she said. "I want to know what they're scanning, how often, and where their internal comm relays are focused." Telzai gestured, and the data flickered to life. Kale's eyes narrowed. "They're not just scanning us. They're scanning through us," she murmured, "looking for something we're hiding. Or someone." A tremor ran through the bridge. "And they're broadcasting open band pulses," Kale continued, "meant to trigger emotional spikes in mammalian brains." "Mind games," Telzai said low and grim. "They're probing." Kale stepped closer to the display, where the enemy vessel's shape shimmered like a monstrous creature half-born from shadow. "And this isn't a routine detour." "What do they want?" a Zali technician muttered, mandibles clicking nervously. Kale stared at the warship, then said slowly, "They want me." Gasps rippled across the bridge. Telzai's voice was like tempered glass. "What?" "I don't know." Kale's expression darkened. But if they're this close, they're already within striking range. And they still haven't fired. That was the part that bothered her. Everyone knew the stories. Everyone feared the rage, the adaptability, the terrifying unpredictability of humans. If the Drakeen really wanted her gone, they'd have obliterated the ship from the edge of sensor range. Clean, cold, precise. But they hadn't. They were waiting. For what? Telzai asked. Kale's fingers tapped her belt, as if sifting through old instincts. A test. A message. Or maybe a recruitment. Recruitment. Telzai's eyes pulsed. They'd never sully themselves with foreign crew. Kale gave her a sharp look. Not crew. Just me. And then the bridge darkened. Every console flickered. Lights dimmed. The main display dissolved in a static before a new image flared to life. A single Drakeen icon, crimson against black, with 3 slashes marked beneath it, symbols of invitation or war. Then came the voice. Cold. Hollow. Translated but distant. Human. You're summoned. Step forward. Alone. Silence claimed the bridge like a grave. Kale's voice was calm. Tell them I'll come. But not alone. Telzai turned sharply. You defy them. No. Kale's eyes were distant now, like staring through time. I just want them to remember that we're not monsters. We're worse. We're people. And then, almost softly, and people fight. The bridge stirred. Around her, officers straightened. Some looked shaken, others inspired. But none doubted what would come next. Because wherever Kale went, change followed. And just outside, the universe was holding its breath.